Welcome to the Ambitious Coach Podcast. This is a place where driven, determined coaches learn how to get off the business growth struggle bus and learn how to build a wildly profitable online coaching business. I'm your host, Allison Henderson, corporate dropout to six-figure social media business coach. I'm going to show you how I've been able to create the business of my dreams organically, all through utilizing my social media platforms. So pull up a seat, take some notes, and get ready to see your life and bank account transform. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I have one of my favorite coaches on. I'm so fangirling today. Her name is Taylor Lee. She has made $5 million in the last 10 years or so. She has 3 kids, all under 6. She's just a badass coach and she's amazing at business. And I wanted to have her on today. So welcome to the podcast, Taylor.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
I don't know if you want to start with like your background story or kind of giving everybody a little taste of your life, but you just have such an amazing, cool life. She lives in Florida and it's just, so I'd love for you just to kind of riff on how you got to where you are today.
Okay. I started this coaching business about 10 years ago. Like you said, before that, I was in college and I was doing freelance stuff online on the side, which is a whole nother story, but we don't need to get into it. And really, I always say like everything I feel like in our life just like is leading us to that perfect next thing. So I just got into freelance. I had no idea what people are like, but what did you do? I'm like, anything people would pay me for. Who did you do it for? Anyone who would pay me. And eventually I ended up having a few clients that were coaches. And I had been doing freelance stuff for like a year and a half. So I was learning about internet marketing for a year and a half at that point. And I'm working with these coaches and I'm like, I should be doing that. Like I should be getting paid to talk on the phone, because what was interesting doing like done for you services was you would clock in and get paid, because I was charging hourly pretty much. You would clock in and get paid for this done for you work, but then to hop on a quick Skype call or to chat on the phone, you would just do for free. And so I would be strategizing with these clients for an hour a month or even maybe an hour a week for free. And then they were getting paid for it. Now they were in different niches and stuff like that, but it just hit me like, that's what I should be doing. So I hired my own coach. I got started. That was at the very end of 2015. And fast forward, my life has changed so much. So I've had 3 kids since then. Right now they're 6, 4, and 2. We bought our dream home here in Florida, which is beautiful, but also we live on 10 acres. We have a bunch of farm animals. We have a few donkeys. I have a horse, chickens, and it's just honestly kind of funny how it all unfolded. And now at this point, what I primarily do, although I help women in lots of different industries and at lots of different starting points, but mostly I work with other coaches in any niche who are already doing about 100 to 200K per year, like scale up from there.
Amazing. So what's alive for you right now? I don't even know where to start because I feel like I have so many questions. So like, what's like in your heart and soul right now where you're like, I just wish everybody knew this?
What is alive for me right now? That's a great question. And I just told you before the podcast, I'm like, I just spent the whole day like recording reels. And what was so funny is before I started recording them, I woke up feeling a little sick. I'm like, I don't know if I'm getting cold. I don't know if it's allergies. And it's rainy out and you know, the whole deal. And I'm just like, I have nothing to say. I don't care about anything. And I'm like, like, I'm just sitting there with a blank computer, like probably just like everybody who's listening to this has also maybe today or recently. And even I like went to AA and I'm like, help.
I'm so happy you're saying this though, because even at your level of like, I've been doing this for 10 years, you still have those days where you're like, what do I even say today? Like, AI, like, yeah, chat, help me figure out what to say to my audience today. Like, yeah, we're all guilty.
But now it's like, somehow I went from that to recording probably like 8 talking head reels. And I'm like, okay. And now I'm doing a podcast. I'm like, wow, that was a big switch up for the day. What's alive for me? I feel like I have just been in this very like truth-telling era of like what it really takes to make bigger money in the industry. And that's one of my favorite things to think about too. Like, what's the difference between somebody who stays stuck and like doesn't pick up that momentum and then somebody, because I have both. I see both with my client and I've been both as a client, right? Where it's like, you just kind of plateau or you dip, and like next thing you know, you blink and it's been a year of you just like in this funky energy, versus like a client who hires me, or when I'm in my own investment, it's like in a few months you're like, phew, you know what I mean? Like everything just kind of takes off. So that's what I've been talking about a lot and just thinking about a lot.
I know a lot of women who are listening to this podcast have kids just like you. And I mean, they're probably listening being like, you recorded 8 reels, or you had all these talking, like, how are you doing this? Like, how are you having the energy to like sit at your computer? I mean, I'm sure you have help, and on that, I mean, obviously that helps, but like, how are you doing all this?
Well, that's such a good question, because honestly, here's literally how it went down. I did not, like, I cannot tell you how many times this morning I told my husband, I'm like, I just feel burnt out. Like, I am tired. And yeah, I think I'm about to start my period.
I was going to say, like, cycles.
You get it, right? It's like we all have those days. And that's just how I started my morning. I'm like, I just, and then I'm like, I need to stop saying this, but also rest is good. But also, we probably all have that too, right? It's like, okay, let me tell myself I have energy, but also let myself rest. And anyway, I had no ideas. And then I thought of an idea that felt like, okay, I'll record that. And it was horrible. Like, I re-recorded this reel 10 times probably before I was like, no, I'm like, this one is trash. But by, like they say, like, clarity comes from action. I also think like energy comes from action, and it kind of completely unrelated. And I can't tell you who this was, but when I was in my like, you know, deep, dark depression of no energy and burnt out and sick this morning, my son woke up before like 6 a.m. It's awful. I was scrolling on Reels, and there's this like I think she said she's 80 years old. She's super fit and in shape. And she's sharing how like her journey started at 70 years old. Because in her comments, it's awesome. It's all these older women who are like, oh my gosh, I'm 70. Like, I would love to do this, but I don't have the energy. And she's like, I didn't either. I did not get the energy until I started doing it. And now I have so much energy, which, first of all, I mean, I was like, is this real? Is this an AI account? Like,
I think I know what you're talking about, because last night that one popped up for me too, and I was like scrolling through all these comments. I'm like, is this AI? Because the last photo, like her kind of looking like this, and she's like super hot and 80. Like, I was like, is that a real photo of somebody?
So sorry, guys. It could be a completely fake account.
We don't know. Yeah.
But the truth, I feel like that with content in my business. Like, don't get me wrong. I have some days where I feel so different than this, different part of my cycle, where I feel so on fire, so lit up, ready to go. Like, I wish I had way more time, because I just have so much to say and so much to do. And I'm like a little Energizer bunny. But a lot of the time too, like, it starts like that, because once that reel was going awful, I found little pieces I was saying where I was like, okay, I'm just going to record these really short, punchy reels on the parts of this I like, and screw the rest of this freaking reel that is not coming through. Like, and then I just like cranked a bunch out. And now, I feel, I mean, I'm still tired and still need to take it easy, but like, I also feel like I have way more energy now after I kind of forced, dare I use that word, forced myself to do it, than definitely before I did, where I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do anything today.
God, so many moms are listening to that being like, oh, so I should just like sit at my computer and like do the work. And it's like, yeah, kind of like grab your coffee, babe, and sit at your computer and just hit record and see what comes out of your mouth.
Yeah. And it might suck. But the thing that sucks usually leads me to the things that are good. And I think that like, that slows a lot of people down, because, and I get stuck in this all the time, and I have to catch myself and be like, wait, what are we doing? Avoiding the thing that sucks, because it's like, no, that's going to suck. No, people aren't going to like, but if you just get into that movement, then you find those things where you're like, oh, I'm a genius. Like, it's always my goal to get back into that energy and that feeling, right? Like, okay.
Yeah. And I think that's what everybody needs to remember, is like the stuff that like comes so easily to you sometimes is so hard to get out, and you want to say it so perfectly. But to the person on the other end, like, they don't know any of this stuff that you're really, really good at. So even you saying like maybe 20 seconds of a little something could really change somebody's life today.
Yeah.
What's working for content right now? I mean, you have masterminds, you have a lot of group programs and stuff. Like, what are you feeling is really working right now?
It's kind of different for everyone. I feel like we're seeing that, right? It's like when you try to duplicate what someone else is doing, which I think we've probably all tried, let's be honest. And it like doesn't work, because there really is no formula. But with me and my clients, I feel like it's finding like the most authentic parts of you and bringing that forward. So, I really do. And I'm not anti AI like at all. Like I talk to ChatGPT every single day. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay. Like I know it's not the best thing for the planet. I know there's lots of controversy. I'm not anti AI, but like I feel like the best thing you can do online right now is just be a human. And you've probably seen me do a lot of this stuff where like, honestly, some of my best performing content is me sharing like I canceled a launch or I woke up and realized like WTF am I doing? Like this is not me at all. And I just like change it. And like people love when I show up that way. And then there's also another side of me that's like, actually, I've been doing this a long time. I make a lot of money. I do know what I'm doing, bringing some of that authority through. Cause I think sometimes also, this was very, very true for me. The most authentic part of you is something, or one of them, because I think we have many parts that are very authentic. There's often like one or two very authentic pieces of you that maybe you haven't gotten to like bring to life before. So for me, and I don't know how much you've seen of like my journey in the last year or so with this, but for me, it's been that side of me that's just like truth telling, sassy, like kind of, I don't want to say mean, but can be kind of sharp and just like say it how it is. Because I definitely did not feel like allowed to show that part of me. And then even when I did get into coaching, and I'm sure everybody can have reasons why they feel this way, but for me, I felt like I'm so young, like I'm lucky to even be doing this. Like, I didn't even have the confidence to offend anybody. And let alone even when I was like, this person really needs to hear this. Like, I didn't want to lose the client or overstep or whatever. Now in my content, I'm very much like seeing how I can push my edges of, I mean, sometimes how it is in private with myself, I'm like, how can we be a little meaner? How can we be a little more offensive? Not because that's actually my goal, but because truly, like if you do, I mean, everyone's in different niches, right? Like if you're maybe a fertility coach, maybe that's not really the tone, right? But for me, if you want to be a very successful business owner, like my clients that get to that level, they can handle the truth. And then, I mean,
they want the truth too. That's the thing. They want it. They want
it. Yes. And the part that's a little mean is the people who don't ever really progress don't really want it, right? Like they get offended by it. They get overwhelmed by it. They get discouraged by it. So I've been pushing outside of the box with that too. And also like, I mean, I could talk on and on and on about content, but calling out things in the industry too, which is uncomfortable for people. I know some people I'll have this conversation with and they're like, oh, I don't want to be a mean girl. And I don't, me either. But there are things that I see in the industry, whether we're talking about the coaching industry or also like a big thing that I stand for and against is like sales, like the sales industry, the way sales is done. That honestly has been one of the biggest like brand growers. Is that a term? For me is like really taking a stand for how I do things and also taking a stand of like, I don't agree with when people say this and not worrying so much about hurting someone else's feelings.
Yeah. I mean, because of AI too, we are craving truth. Like we want to hear it from a real person. Like, and by the way too, like I just feel like trust is kind of at an all-time low because we want to make sure we're buying a real human being and their thoughts and their methodologies or their way of thinking. And I think, you coming on and kind of sharing from like maybe a meaner tone, we need that. Like we need somebody that's like, oh, I always just say it's refreshing. I don't really know how else to describe that, but it's just like, oh, I really needed to hear that today. But like, there are those people that are going to get discouraged or offended and you just kind of go, that's probably not my ideal client anyway. Like they're probably not going to fit well into my program if they can't really handle the truth. Exactly.
Yeah. Just like the 80-year-old fitness person that we're not really sure if she's real.
But we're like,
it's where our brain goes though. Like she very well may be real, but we're like, I don't know.
I mean, I don't even know if she was selling anything, but I would have been, if she was, I would have been like, this is probably a little AI. If if I find it, I'll have to send it back to you to see. Like, we have to dissect this a little bit. Is this AI? So can we go back to your kids for a second? Like, okay, right now I know you're kind of in a spot where like you have like dedicated hours. Like somebody right now who has little kids that have very small amount of time. Like what would you say to do in that short amount of time that they have?
Yeah, when I had my first daughter 6 years ago, and that pregnancy was like, honestly, it was a very easy pregnancy, but mentally I was like so afraid and so stuck in overthinking that like you would have thought I had a very, very difficult pregnancy. So the year I was pregnant, I had my first income dip since starting my business, which I also took really personal, had a lot of shame about. Like our brain goes to worst case scenario, right? It's like, but if this keeps it up, like then this is the trajectory. We just see our business like plummeting into nothing. That's where our brains go. It's actually not what happens. And then when I had my daughter, it took me a few months to get here, but a few months after she was born, I I started to feel that fire again. Like I want to get out of my own way. I want to get my shit together. Like I want to grow this business. And number one, I read the book. I always shout this book out, Do Less by Kate Northrup.
Okay, write that down.
Yeah, write that down. Game changer. And one of I read it, this is over 6 years ago, but so I don't remember this is the exact exercise. Something that I did, and this takes time. So I just said I have small amounts of time. I don't care if this takes you weeks, because when I had a newborn baby, this probably took me a couple weeks to get done. I wrote down and I also already had a multi six-figure business. So I had a lot of moving parts. You may not, you may. But I wrote down every single action of my business. So like everything from I had a podcast at the time. I was on Facebook. I had a private Facebook group. I mean, I was doing everything. I went live. I had Instagram. Gosh, what else was I doing? Like I had a membership. I had these different coaching programs. I had my courses. We had like customer service inbox, like every single project. I wrote down every single task. And then I went through with okay, so that's part one. Part two is I looked at where have my last clients and biggest wins came from. And then I went through with the pen and I just crossed out everything on that list that wasn't that and wasn't 100% required. And now, 6 years later, my business is, again, much more complicated than it was then. But that, the amount of action items on that list, went from this to so small. I stopped posting on Facebook. I archived my Facebook group. I didn't go live again for a couple of years. A lot of time we think I need to do more. I need to do more. I need to do more. But actually, for most people, you need to do less better. And that's a lot of what that book Do Less is about. She also talks about your cycle. She talks about moon, some really cool stuff for your energy. But that was the game changer for me. So I can definitely go more into what some of those things were that I put my energy into. But that point, because I didn't have a nanny at all until my daughter was right about to be 6 months old. And even then it was very, very part-time. I think it was 12 hours a week, which made a world of a difference. Big fan of childcare, just saying, but also I do get it when there isn't that or when it's very, very limited. And I would say start first with what you have on your plate that you actually don't need to do.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I think I literally right in front of me. I wrote down what are the things that I know I have to do, my bare minimum. Yes. And a lot of that doesn't take me very long. And at the end of all that, I'm like, but I should be doing more. And I start getting in my head, and you go down that cycle of oh, but this, I don't know. I'm always constantly telling myself you actually don't need to be doing more. You just got really good at doing the things in a really short amount of time. So chill out.
And that's kind of the goal, isn't it? We want simple businesses that give us a lot of spaciousness. And the next thing you know, you're in the middle of your work hours, let me do this actually. You're way off in left field.
Yeah. Well, even this morning I went on a 2-mile walk. I came home, I read, I took a little shower. You're my first real worky thingy today. I have a group call later. I'll probably put out a post, send off an email. It's really not that complicated. It's you can do a lot of things that bring you joy. Obviously, my kids are in school, so that helps that I have a lot of freedom during my day. Yes. But I think we just overcomplicate everything. And I think a lot of women wake up though, not sure when they're going to get a chance to work. So the anxiety, they just kind of spiral all day because they have little kids running around, or they just don't have scheduled working hours. And that's a lot of what I'm helping my clients with. I'm you got to actually set aside time. When is that going to be throughout the day? I just know with little kids, it's rough. It's rough. And now my kids are a little older, 12 and 6, but I started this business many years ago. And I remember just being pregnant, taking group programs and still recording the videos and doing all the things. And it's just it has to be a priority in a sense, right? We just have to really, I guess, come to terms with that.
Yeah. And I think when you have at least little kids, right, which is what I'm experienced with, that naturally, and if you see like, it is one thing I love about social media, not that it's completely always authentic and accurate, but I follow moms who've been through this phase of having lots of little kids and now who are on the other side. And I really feel like when you have little kids, especially, although I know any age that your children are, this will be a piece of your energy for them, of course, but you're in a self-sacrificing season, right? Where it's like right now, like even with the nanny, like if my child needs me, like I will leave and I will be with my child, right? If there's any confliction with the nanny ever, which could pop up any second, she could need to leave, right? Because she has her own things. Like I'm going to self-sacrifice, like, okay, no problem. I have my kids, no matter what needs to happen. Like this morning, my daughter spent the night with my grandmother, and the plan was that the nanny would go pick her up. And then next thing you know, my grandma's like, okay, be here at 9:30. And I'm like, my nanny doesn't even get here till 9. And I'm like, okay, I'll go get them, which was not necessary. She's like, no, it's fine. Like we can do 10:30. And I'm like, okay, here's my point. Having little kids, you just get really good at self-sacrifice because that's what they need from you, right? Like they need mommy. But when it comes to how you're operating, yes, with family, I'm learning that over and over and over again. But also your business and your priorities, it's like switching from zones, right? It's hard to go from being with your kids to working in your business. And then you're like, what do I even say? Like I was just singing like Miss Rachel or whatever for 30 minutes. But it's also like, don't spend all 24 hours of your day in self-sacrifice. Like find ways that you can have support, because I've been in the situation where I've had people who could help even without a nanny. Like I have an amazing husband, whether he was working at the time or not. It's like, I could have asked, or even I could ask if he could help me, right? Like it's that energy. I don't even need to ask. I can be like, hey, I need to go do an hour or 2 of work. Good. You got them, like, but even still, like even sometimes on the weekends when I just need like a minute, I'm like, I find myself stuck in the self-sacrifice mode. And I have to be like, wait a minute. Cause then I start feeling anxious. I start feeling annoyed at everybody, like resentful. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? Okay. You haven't just let yourself ask for what you need. Again, the word ask. Do you need to ask, Taylor? Stop. But it's like you just decided you're not allowed to ask for what you need, but actually you fully 100% can at any moment. And you're allowed to be like, hey, I need a minute, or I want to go do this for myself. And then you can come right back into self-sacrifice mode because that's a bit of the season that you're in, and that's okay. But you get my point. It's just so easy to get stuck in it.
Yeah. Oh, I think a lot of moms needed to hear that today.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing.
You're so welcome.
Yeah. A lot of women who listen to this are like sleep consultants, doulas. I mean, a lot of them are coaches and everything too, but like, they're helping moms. They're helping a lot of these moms out there who are feeling hard to ask for help, and I think that's just like, it was beautifully said. And I don't know, I still have days where like I want to work and it's like, I want to do, and it's like, can I, is it cool if a lot of times my husband's totally cool with that. Or like if I like literally like move my desk a little bit, like my parents' house is right there. So like my kids are able to like walk over there, which is really nice. So just days where my kids are walking over, my mom's like, okay, and so, and that just gives me like a good hour to myself where I can get some things done. But I know not everybody has that privilege to do that. But yeah, I think a lot of times I get so wrapped up and stuck when I'm like, I want to do this. And like, I can't, like you're in those moments. And it's just like, sometimes you just got to like put it off. It's like, okay, I'll get to it later today, or I'm going to schedule out time tomorrow to do that. And I think the anxiety or just the overthinking starts. And it's like, when am I ever going to chance to build my business if I'm never going to have time to work on it? You're just like, so yeah, self-sabotage, I think at its finest. Right. Yeah. All right. So I have more questions to ask you.
Okay.
Right. So because a lot of my clients who are listening are, I would say, really trying to hit maybe their first 10K month, or maybe they're like kind of starting to get there where they're seeing some consistency, but like, what would you say is like something that they probably should be focusing on if they're still not really feeling that consistent 5K or 10K month yet?
To get to your first 10K month, I would say it's really important that you have an offer that can actually get you there. I know that sounds very like duh, but you probably wouldn't be surprised, but you'd be surprised how many people have a money goal and then the offers they're selling is just not going to get them there. Right. Or it just doesn't make sense. So for me, like I started with private coaching and I got distracted a few times. I'll be honest with you guys, but like 80-90% of my energy was just on private coaching until I had like that financial baseline in my business. And that's what I suggest to my clients. I actually had a course called Unleash Your Six-Figure Badass for many years. And it helped a ton of people have their first 10K month and six-figure year. And that's what we talked about, having an offer that can actually get you there. That's what I'm reflecting back on, is that course.
Yeah.
Like going like ham in your content on the same things, right? Like speaking to that one person, leading to that one offer, like that thing that you know that they want. It's so easy, especially if you are distracted by things, or I think it's a self-sabotage thing when you feel like, well, that isn't working anyway, or sometimes people just post stuff that's like so ineffective and like they deep down know it. You can post whatever you want, but if you're posting things that are ineffective and complaining that you don't have time to post, like, let's just be like, that's what I do. And whether I'm talking about having your first 10K month, or for me, like when I want to sign private clients, even now, right, at much higher rates, it's like, this, like blinders on, right? It's like, who's my person? What am I selling them? What am I going to do with them? What roles am I going to get? And I'm just like hammering it every single day until those clients come in. You don't need to like talk about all this other stuff and cutesy quotes, and like you can really leave that out unless you genuinely have enough time and space and you love to. It's not going to hurt it. It's just what you said, bare minimums. Mm-hmm. What else? Have the right offer, do the content. I'm big on mindset. That's another big thing I taught in that program. Like you would have thought like I was a crazy person that first year of my business. Like I would journal. I'm not saying you need to do this, but I do want to tell you the truth. Like I was journaling like 5 times a day because I was like, I needed to keep my head like on straight, because all day long, I mean, I have a very loud, mean girl. Some people do, some people don't. I have a very loud one. So all day long, she was just like, you look like an idiot. Everyone's judging you. Nobody's going to sign up with you. Why would anyone hire you? Like, so the best thing I could do was like go to my journal and like brain dump it all out and reframe, right? Like, no, that's not true. Here's what I don't look like an idiot. What I look like is somebody who's going after the things that she wants. And yes, there are people who would hire me because here's the truth about me and why they would hire me. Like, and you can do that in your head. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on a voice note to yourself. But like, I feel like that's so crucial because it number one, I do believe in energy. Like, I feel like when you stay, it feels like an open energy, right? It's like, no, I believe, I'm open to receive. Like it allows it to come in. If you're not super into that, like, I think we can all agree that if you just have your inner mean girl, like going off, like you're going to feel less energized. You're going to feel less motivated. You're going to have different things to say. You're going to question all the things that you say.
Yeah.
There's bigger strategy we could talk about, but I would say like those would be the daily things. I think this is very easily overlooked and this is important at any level. Honestly, this is one of my biggest goals right now is audience growth. Like just making sure you're getting in front of more people. And like, this is a perfect example, like with podcasting, I'll tell clients like, you should get on podcasts. Like you have such a good voice and you're a storyteller. And like, I feel like those are things that I'm gifted at. Like I'm good at using my voice. People feel my authenticity when I can't not be authentic. I'm like, I'm going to be really polished today and really authoritative. And then I'm like, ooh, giggly, like here's the truth. And immediately people will be like, but how do I get on like big podcasts? I don't think I've ever been on like a big, like a famous podcast, like pretty much if not every podcast I've been on has just been my clients, my students, like maybe like at the most, like just peers, like other women who are at the same level as me. It's not about me going on this podcast with you today and getting 10,000 more followers, like, which also probably isn't going to happen even if you get on a big podcast. It's like, what if I could go on this podcast and one soulmate client finds me, or maybe no one from this podcast hires me, but maybe 3 people from this podcast love me and they go and tell 1 or 2 of their people, have you heard of this Taylor Lee woman? She was on Allison's podcast, and then they follow me and maybe one of them hires me. Like the ROI on that, when literally all we're doing is having a fun conversation for maybe an hour, like is so worth it. So when I was growing my audience, I would do like live stream. That was really popular back then, like joint live streams like this, but it was live. Yeah. And we'd have like 2 people watching.
I remember those days. Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't like I was getting on these viral live streamers, like things like, no, I was just finding other people who also had a small audience. And I was like, hey, let's collaborate. Let's talk about this. And then we would talk about it, and maybe we'd each get a person from each other's audience. And I just kept doing that. Back then, my goal was just like, if I can just get one person to find me per day.
I love that. That's actually
And
a great goal. Yeah.
it is like that will compound. And just, again, I do believe in the energy. So opening up to that, like one new person today, like, hey, you could do nothing today and one new person could find you, first of all, but also like, that's staying energetically open, but also what could you strategically do to get in front of one new person per day? You know?
Yeah. And I also feel like we won't know until we ask. Like when it comes to some of these podcasts, I'm like, did you ask to be on the podcast? Because they might be like, I would love to have a person like you on my podcast. It's like, you just sometimes got to slide into a DM and say, wishful thinking, I think I'd be a great guest for your podcast. Any chance you'd be looking for somebody like me? You don't know.
I actually learned that from some of my own clients, because this is always my advice. I'm like, don't even bother with the big podcasts. Like, go to your clients, go to your peers, go to your friends, like go to people in your network. And then they'll be like, oh, well, I already made a list of like 10 people I thought would never accept me on their podcast, and they all did. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I
well,
like
even
that too.
even weirdly, like obviously you're on my podcast today, but I haven't had a guest on for a while. And I sat and I was like, I got a list out. Like, who would I love to be on my podcast? They can all say no, because like you're obviously making millions and you're doing the thing, girl. Like you might be like, I'm way too busy for podcasting. Wow, right? Like, but you don't know until you ask. It's like, just do it. Like, I guess, have the audacity to hear a no. Like, you know?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I think a lot of people need more guts, and I don't know. I'd love for you, because I think this is one of the biggest reasons why people don't last long in this business is because of the uncomfortableness of hearing the no's, or having, I guess the insecurities, like the just not having the predictability and just not feeling safe with the money and all that sort of fun stuff. I always say fun stuff, but like these are things consistently that I'm still journaling about, being like, what if next month I don't have any clients, or what if I don't hit my money goals or whatever. And like the mindset stuff is, I know a big part of strategy that you teach, but like, how do you help people through all that? Because that is, I swear, the biggest reason why people just give up.
It is, because and for some people it's not worth it. Like, that's actually the question you have to answer, right? And there's other questions like that, but people have asked me that question. They're like, is it worth it? Like, I don't know. And it's like, you have to actually answer that question for yourself. It's the kind of question that pops up in your mind and you're like, no, look at it. Is it worth it? Because I think there is this delusion of like, we think we're going to hit this point and it's just going to be so easy, right? Like, I was like, once I have like 100K month, like I'm never even gonna have to really try again. Like, I really thought that. I was like, people are just going to be lining up to work with me. Like, look how much money I've made. Like, and then I did. And I remember I wrote a celebration post, like, oh my God, first 100K month. And it got like no traction. I seriously think it was like a universe that it was like, no, because I know why you're doing this. Like, I know what you think this is going to do. And it just like made the algorithm block it or something. And I had like a full crisis over that post. I was like, nobody cares. It's never going to be impressive enough. It's not like, and I had to like, that's a whole nother conversation. I had to really like, why am I actually doing this? What's actually the goal? Because I think all of us I didn't actually start this business, to be honest with you, with like a lot of purpose. I was just like, I'd make a lot more money doing that. I should do that. And that's okay if you start it that way. But I think the ones who stay, like over time, I was like, oh, I actually love this work. Like, obviously, like I love talking about it. Like, once you get me talking, like I could talk for an hour on any one of these questions. Like, I genuinely do love it. And it's so easy because we live in a world that requires money. Like, you need to pay your mortgage or your rent. You need to put food on the table, like pay your bills. Like, the money is a priority. That's okay. That's like life. That's like this worldly thing that we're doing. But it's easy to just, your mind's like, okay, the goal is that this becomes so easy. The goal is that I don't even need to, we see that with like passive income businesses, funnels, which great to have, but I do think it's a bit misleading that it's just like set it and forget it. Like it's definitely not. Is that really the goal? Like I've had so many moments in my business where I'm like, no, what is the ultimate goal here? Like the ultimate goal is that I get to do work that actually lights me up and that I get to do it with people that lights me up. Like this, I get to talk to people like you that I love talking to about things like this that I love talking about. And bonus points that I make great money doing it. And the other thing that's really important to me is who I'm being. Like genuinely, like, you know, you're that kind of person when it's like, yes, I get super excited about making money and signing clients. Like I'll be having a full happy dance even still. Okay. You can get excited about money. That's amazing. But I get just as excited when I have like a big breakthrough with a coach, or even on a conversation like this where something might come up and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my next thing, right? Like that is something I'll celebrate. Like I really love, you could say who I'm being, or you could say the identity work, but you could just say like, I love like the soul journey, like soul work, soul clients, soul journey. Like that's what it's all about for me. When I stay focused on that, even the hard parts are worth it. When I get distracted by other things that I like the idea of it being easy. I like the idea of there not being a lot of like mind boggling stuff. Like, but when I focus too much on that, then I'm like, is this even worth it? Because it feels like it's not happening. And there's always something hard, and there's always this, and there's always a problem. And like I get back over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's, I guess the question underneath the question is it worth it to put in all this time and effort and energy? And it's like, yeah, like I personally can't imagine doing anything else. Like I'd be the person at like the corporate job, if I ever had to go back to that, like convincing everybody to quit. I'd be like, you're better than this. You don't need you don't need this job. Just start a business. I could never do it. But I know there's people out there right now who like really want to quit their corporate job, or they really want to do this more full time. And they're just so scared. And they're scared to take that leap of faith in themselves. And it's like, is it going to be worth it? Like, yeah, you're going to have hard days, and the mental hard, it's more like the mental hard days than it really is the work. Cause the work in itself, like guys, creating content it really is not that hard. No. It's really not that hard, but we're making out, like I said, the fear of judgment, the fear of people, the negative comments, all these sort of things. It's like the fear of people, realistically, are really stopping them from having the most successful business and just a really enjoyable life, you know?
Yeah. Like if you're in that place, like I feel like you just will hit a point where you get, and we've all hit this point with something, I'm sure. You hit that point where you're just like, I am so sick of myself. Like that's, I've hired coaches from that place. That's where a lot of my clients, they hire me and they're like, I'm just so sick of myself. Like I've had this excuse, that excuse for how much time. And then you just, enough time goes by where you realize like, there really isn't a reward for this. Cause even in your corporate job, it's like I've seen people in that situation, and I'm a big fan of being financially responsible. Like I totally, and there's power in a decision of like, okay, I am going to leave the job and this is when, or this is the plan will probably change, but like a decision, right? Like versus like, I don't know, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Should I, could I, would I? There's just power in that decision. But I've seen people who've stayed in like a corporate situation thinking like, this is so much more safe. And like, next thing you know, like it comes out that the company's going out of business, or they start not getting raises, or they get a new boss that's just like a complete asshole, right? That like makes the job even more miserable. Like that's the cool thing about like God or the universe, whatever you vibe with. Like if you are really meant to do something and you don't do it yourself, like you will start to be pushed to do it. And maybe somebody listening to this already is, right? And you've been a little woe is me about it, because that sucks to not get the raise that you deserve, or the recognition that you deserve, or your boss to like treat you that way. Make your next thing you know, you're doing 2 or 3 jobs with one salary, right? Like this is all normal, common stuff in corporate. There's like a lot of, yeah, you probably have health insurance, you probably have vacation. Like that sounds great. It sounds really great. But there's all these other things that come with it that are just different, that if you're having these things happen and you're wondering like, is it a sign? Yeah, probably.
Well, even one of my, inside of my group program right now, she had recently just lost her job. And I was like, girl, I hate to say it, but what a flipping blessing this is for you. Now you can actually focus on this And yeah, she's going to be much happier in the long run. I know right now in this moment, she probably feels like, oh my God, I cannot believe I just lost all that money. But it's like, you're going to be okay. You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to ask you the difference between somebody who's making, say, 10,000 right now, or, in that range, and the difference between someone who's making 100,000 a month. Like, what really changes?
Well, there's a
That's
couple
kind of
ways.
where I'm at right now. So I'm like, 10, I'm like, I'm trying to hit my 20K month, and I'm like, what's really going to change? Like, what would I have to be doing?
It's not that different. That's the interesting thing. I do the same daily actions at this level that I did making like 8K a month.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is there's two sides of it. I think it's very underrated, like the power of just, I mean, I'm going to make it sound like it's so simple because it kind of is. People just overcomplicate it. Like the power of just having bigger launches. Like I remember always I would ask, because if it's in there for you, like you're already kind of thinking that, like it's so, you're going to do it. Like it's so possible for you. Because with my husband, I'd always be like, what would we do if I made $100,000 in a month? Like, what would we even do? Like, I always had that question. And really, like, when I had my first 6-figure launch, it was just, I did the same launch I always did. I just got a lot more people in on the front end, which, yes, I ran some ads, which I'm on and off about, but I ran some ads. I went harder on the promotion. And I just had a lot more people in front of me. And then I sold something scalable. I sold a course, right? And I had sold that course, like, I'm not kidding you, probably like 20 other times. And every time I launched it, it was a 10K launch. I'd get like 10 people, 10K, 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 10K. The really only difference was I just got a lot more people on the front end. Because what people forget, if you're making 10K a month or 6 figures a year, or sometimes even more than that, just depending on how it like averages out, you are already, if you haven't realized, you are already in the top 10% of women in business, because 10% of women who start businesses will go on to make 6 figures. I hope people like us can increase those numbers, but it's just the stats. And so I meet a lot of women at 6 figures who feel, honestly, it's kind of sad, and there's no reason they should feel this way, but they feel like they just suck, right? They're so hard on themselves. They are so in their head about how long it's been. And like a lot of them maybe have had one 20K month, or they've had a jump here and like something, and then it like dips back till they start to make a story like, I can do it once, but I can't do it again. Like silly stories that are not at all true. They were just like a one-off experience. That how much money you make is not like an inherent factor inside of you, right? It's not like I can only make 10K a month. No, that's just all you've done. And probably if we looked at the math, it probably makes perfect sense. So when I had that first big launch, like that's what I did. When I jumped up more permanently, I had already like grown the audience, but I went a lot more premium. So it was like, it was also for me, it was about speaking to a higher level person, charging higher rates. That's not the right fit for every single like niche and industry, obviously. But for me as a business mentor, it was the right move. But the 6-figure launch thing, which could be like definitely scalable, it's just so funny. It's just about doing it, getting your numbers right, and then doing it again and doing it again and doing it again. I just did an audio inside the program I'm running, A Woman Who Moves, about this, where it's like, so often we have something that works. We just don't let ourselves repeat it. Why? Like, what got you all those clients. You know that those launches worked. I've been looking at this in the back end of my own business. So many things that I was like, well, that didn't really work that well. And then when I looked at it, I'm like, that actually worked really well. But imagine if I had 3 times the amount of people go through it. Yeah. Then it would have worked really well like I wanted it to. Like the numbers were actually fine. It just how many people went through it. Trust me, I've had my own share of flops too, but those are like those are the 2 angles I look at with any client. I'm like, either we need to get more people in, because either way, if you're at 10K, you have something that works. That's my point. So either we need to just get more people in, that's one option, and or we go more premium, which there's so many fears behind that for people too, leaving people behind. I mean, I could go on and on. And again, sometimes it's a mix of both. Sometimes it's one or the other.
Mm-hmm. So what currently is your take on ads? Because I really never dabbled in that. And I teach organic, you know what I mean, for business coaches. So it's like, or as a business coach, I teach organic. So like, I've always, I guess it's not like uncommon to run ads. I'm always a little like, do I really need that? And I think my clients always ask me that too.
Well, do you need it is really just dependent on how many people you have in front of you right now and like how many people you want in front of you. And you could go viral, you could have organic growth. I've had a lot of organic growth too. And a lot of my audience has grown from things like people meeting me and then talking about me, like more of like a networking thing. But I have had a few periods in my business where I've spent a lot of money on ads. I probably spent, I don't know, somewhere between 150, probably not 200, but I probably spent around $150,000 on ads in 10 years.
Yeah.
Like when you break it down, it's not that much, but also when it's like probably more than you have, right? Or more than anyone listening has. And then there's other people who are spending that in last quarter, right? So it's all how you look at it. But for me, and I've had some ads do really, really well, and I've had a lot not do well at all. And I'll tell you why. The thing that I don't like about ads is it's such an easy place to give your power away because you have to spend money. You have to learn tech. Like how many, I don't know how you are with tech, but how many of your clients like just glitch as soon as tech comes into the picture, right? It's like, it's overwhelming. So you have to pay money. You have to learn a whole new technology. And then there's a strategy with it. And so the easiest thing to do is to learn from somebody. You probably should learn it from somebody. Very smart thing to do. It's a great skill to have, in my opinion. But what I have seen so many people do is just, because this is how ad things are taught. Like I've never done an ad program that wasn't taught this way. It's like, okay, here's the exact kind of offer you need to have. If you have an offer that's priced at this, it's not going to work with ads. It's not going to work with a cold audience, and you need this kind of video. And if it's not going to work with ads, and like, I swear to you, every time I do that, it does not work. Every time I run ads, of course I need to learn the tech from someone, and like there is a learning curve, don't get me wrong. But when I've just like taken the things that have worked for me organically and then ran ads to them, or yeah, maybe I'll recreate them a little bit for ads because it feels a little bit different, but like it's just the things I would do organically anyway. It works. It works. And I said this somewhere recently, but I really feel like this. If you are meant to be very successful, whatever that means, but again, if we know 6 figures is already 10%, like you are meant to be very successful. You're not meant to do it someone else's way, because all these people up in this level, like they're all doing it their own way with their own voice, their own nuance, their own different little, like sparkle, like whatever it is. You're not meant to copycat it. So if I were giving someone, some feedback on starting ads, I would say learn the tech from someone, unless you're really smart with tech. And I would probably do something very simple that doesn't have a lot of pressure behind it, like just an evergreen. That's what I'm running ads to right now, just an evergreen masterclass. There's no funnel even connected to it. Like I'm just growing my email list. Like I don't want any pressure around this. And I'm just testing some things that I would normally do on my feed. And I'm like, right now I'm doing like $10 a day, which I think is like $600 a month. You could even do $5 a day. Now, the less you spend, the more time it's going to take to see how it's doing. But just to like build some confidence and like get your feet wet, so to speak. Like I think where people go wrong is there's just so much pressure behind it too. Like the amount of people I've seen, they're like, I'm going to have this huge launch or this huge funnel, and I'm going to run ads to it, and they've never touched ads a day in their life. Like it's just failure waiting to happen. Like so much pressure, so much new things to learn, a huge learning curve. And then also the opportunity to just be like, okay, yeah, like I have to do it that way. I think that's such a misconception. Like running ads does not mean you need to do completely different content than organic. The ads show up on the organic platforms. How could it possibly be that different? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. Because there's sometimes I'm like, no, you don't need to run ads to this. Like, but they think, oh, this is the end all be all. Like this is going to blow up my business. And I'm like,
no,
you don't even know how to sell or market yourself yet. Like, don't run an ad. I'm always like,
I would say you need something that's worked first. And I know people don't want to wait for that, but like you need something that's worked. And then I think it's genius to do a little bit of low pressure ads. And then maybe like someone like you might hit a point where it's like, okay, I'm going to put like 3 or 4K into this and just see how big this launch is. That's exactly what I did. I think I spent like 3,000 in ads for that 6-figure launch, which really, if you think about it, like isn't that crazy. Like I'm sure you and I have both spent a lot more on things that weren't super successful.
And I think you're right. And I guess this is coming from me is like just guts, like just,
Yes.
you have something that works. I mean, 3K or 4, whatever it is, like just test it out, see if it worked out. And except is it worth it? Like, we're going to ask that question again. Is it worth it? You really won't know until you actually try.
Yeah, like entrepreneurship is like you do things where you waste, so to speak, like 3K here, 10K here, 1K here, 500 here. But then you also have the opportunity where you have a 10K day here, 20K here, 20K month, a 10K week. Like it's very, very different. But to me, it's worth it. But there is that like money mindset of an entrepreneur that like takes a little getting used to.
Oh God, when I told my mom, like, oh, I spent, 10,000 on this or 20,000 on that, she's like, what? That's a car pay. Like, I was like, I know, I could have bought like 10 cars at this point, it's like one of those things where, but like I call them normsies, like normal person, like they don't get it. They are not, their mindset is not in that entrepreneurship, frame of mind. And it is different. It is so different. And there's nothing wrong with, by the way, normal people. I say normsies. But
No.
yeah, you're going to be investing a lot more than you think in testing some things out.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Any last words of wisdom? I just love talking with you. I can keep asking you questions, but
oh my gosh,
what do you want to end with?
I have loved this conversation, and I'm trying to think of a better way to say this, but like literally the words that just like popped in my head, as corny as this is, it's just, you can do it. Like you can do it. And I also think, my husband's working on a little project, and we've been wanting to start another company, like a local type of thing, for so long. And this one's not like official, but like we're getting closer, and it has shown me so much about myself, because I can think of ideas all day long. Like I can think of a million business ideas right now. Let's do it. And then he's so quick to take baby steps. And I'm like, as soon as he starts taking baby steps, I'm like, but you really need to think about like this. Like, what about like, I'm thinking like big picture logistical, like I'm thinking like problems as we scale. Right. And he's like, let me just start seeing what this would look like. And now it's interesting. There's so many opportunities I feel like that come up for me where I'm like, oh, okay, I remember now what it's like. Because 10 years ago is a long time ago. And so I want to share that, because maybe someone listening to this, you're like, I want to do that. But like, the problem is then you go so big. You're like, but how am I going to get the audience? But how am I going to get people to see it? But how am I? What if you just started taking those baby steps? Because that actually is what starts a business, is just one foot in front of the other, one step at a time. And then as you grow and you have more stability, which you will, then you start getting into that big vision space. And it's actually a lot easier it's a lot easier to big vision when you have some traction, but like truly the first step is building some traction. And I'll just add this really quick. I always say my business started in 2016 because I signed my first client in the very beginning of 2016. I always say January. I saw a screenshot of her payment, and it actually said like February 3rd or something. So maybe it actually wasn't until February that I got paid. But regardless, that's why I say 2016 started my business. But I started posting online every single day starting in the beginning of August 2015. I actually think it was August 1st. And I posted every day. I went live most of the days with no product, nothing to sell. And I do think it's one reason I'm successful, because you might be like, why did you do that? Honestly, I wasn't even thinking of starting a coaching business yet. I was just like, maybe there's some way that like I could eventually get paid for like talking about marketing. And so every day I just talked about marketing yourself. I even had an email list. It only was 300 people from August to December. But like, I was just like, maybe one day I'd get paid for this. Let me just start creating the content and like see. And then the coaching thing unfolded. And that is where my first client came from. Like she found me at some point from August to December. And I always forget about that. And I forget to share it. But I think it's helpful if you're like, but what would I sell? And what would I price it at? And how would that work? And the schedule. I think just starting to post and show up and start a brand, like, and just like I said with the ads, like do the ads with low pressure. It's the same thing with content. People are like, okay, I'm going to launch the coaching business. I'm going to sign my first 3 clients in the first month. Or maybe you just give yourself 6 months. I mean, I'm talking to the brand new person, right? Maybe you just give yourself 3 to 6 months to just create and see where it gets you. Because that's what gets us everywhere. Just one foot in front of the other, you know? I think that's applicable to any level of business you're at when you're like looking at that next level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, Taylor, thank you so much for today. Where can people find you, or where do you want people to find you?
So, okay, the best couple of places. Number 1, Instagram. Give me some engagement. Give me some likes. Because the algorithm's it's been unfair on all of us, but I create really good content on there, I promise. @_the Taylor Lee. I share on my stories almost every single day. I have content going out almost every single day that I would say is very valuable. And then also, if you just go to the homepage of my website, thetaylorlee.com, there is a free workshop called Your Unfair Advantage. So if you are wanting to start posting, or even if you are posting, but you feel like it's not really standing out and you want to figure out like how to be different in this industry and marketplace, that training is perfect because I hit it at all different angles of like all the different ways that you're going to stand out online. And again, it's completely free. And I'm very proud of myself that I created a 7 and a 30-day implementation plan to go with it. So you get this whole 90-minute training and then this whole plan to follow. And it's really good.
Perfect. I'll make sure to link that up in the show notes so everyone can grab that. Thank you so much. All right, so Taylor, welcome. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Ambitious Coach podcast today. A couple favors before you go. If you found this episode helpful, please take a screenshot and share it on Instagram. Most importantly, don't forget to tag me at Allison Henderson _coach. That's ALLISON Henderson _coach. And lastly, please take a minute to rate this episode and leave a raving review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you tune in to listen. Okay, ambition is great, but it's time to get to work. Take action and commit to being 1% better every day. Once again, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you again next week.